Okay, I'm going to do this video, which is going to just be kind of a podcast type of thing. And the reason why, again, I'm doing this is because I know for a fact I can get the right audio um, for this project, and I don't have to worry about the images being all over the place. And to be honest with you, it's like 6 in the morning, and I'm up starting my day. I haven't even had coffee yet, but I did get to see what happened at the Oscars last night. I didn't watch the Oscars. I never have, really, to be honest with you. I always thought it was kind of silly, and not really. I just felt like a lot of times movies, a lot of good acting has been done and it hasn't been recognized. So after seeing that over and over again of some of the weakest, in my opinion, performances getting recognized, I just stopped watching it. And so I saw literally probably 20 minutes or so after it happened, it was all over social media and from different outlets. And so I did actually get to see what took place. And I got to see some people's reactions. And one of the things I want young black men to do is to definitely not do what Will Smith did, in my opinion. Now, here's the reason why. Everyone has their opinion, everyone can agree or disagree, and that's completely okay. But here's where I'm coming from with that. Every day, there's always bad examples of black men doing things. We now have a high caliber event, or what's considered to be by some as a high caliber event. And instead of using this as a moment of showing greatness, it was a moment, in my opinion, of showing weakness. People are focusing on the fact that Jada has alopecia and all of this type of stuff, and that he was making fun of her alopecia and this, that, and the other. That's not exactly accurate. He was basically saying that she would be ready for the next G.I. Jane movie, part two, and he can't wait for that. Because in G.I. Jane, basically, I believe Demi Moore played it before, and she was bald in that movie. And she shaved her head bald. I get alopecia makes you have hair loss. I get that. But Will was not Will. Chris was not basically saying people with alopecia, blah, 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 blah. He was basically saying that because, in my opinion, I feel that Jada is very masculine. And to play in G.I. Jane, you have to be kind of a tough, masculine type of chick, right? You got to be pretty tough, some would say a badass, right? So you can look at it as he was giving I guess, an underhanded compliment in a way, but it's a joke regardless. I'm not the biggest Chris Rock fan. I don't find him funny. I just never really cared for him. Even when he first came out in New Jack City and he was Pookie, I never really cared for Chris Rock, right? Never have. However, I have a lot more respect for him than I do Will on many, many occasions. And I want young black men to understand this. The best way to decide who it is that you want to be with versus not is on your first date, ask them what did they think about the whole Will Smith and Chris Rock Oscar issue, and see how they answer that. If someone says, yeah, you know what, I agree, I think he did right, he was defending his woman and we need more of that, I would leave that date. Maybe not that very second, but I would not go on a second date with that person. And here's the reason why. In the real world, outside of the fame and outside of the bright lights and security and all that, there are many times on the block or anywhere where a man, it doesn't even have to be a black man, it can be any man, can be joking around, or guys will sit and say, well, didn't you get with such and such, and just be joking. And then when someone reacts and says, like what Will did, keep my wife's name out of your mouth, but he didn't say it that nicely. Sometimes there's gunfire that comes out of it. Sometimes people get shot over just jokes because you have someone that's trying to prove their manhood, which is what Will Smith was trying to do. He's been emasculated by Jada. And this is the reason why a lot of people are telling young men, especially young black men, do not be with someone who's a very masculine woman. Because then you're always going to have to try to prove your manhood. And sometimes it's to your own detriment. This could have went completely different had it been someone else. And given the fact that Will has been put on national TV, his wife has sat there, talked about her relationship with a younger man, and she has talked about her strong love and desire for Tupac and how they had such a strong relationship. Will was always never viewed as as a serious rapper. He was more of a comedic rapper, if you will. Tupac was obviously tough, gangster rap. He was a tough guy. August Alsina, while he's an R&B singer, he's viewed as a little bit more tougher. Will is always looked at as soft as a kitten. And so, in a situation like this, he's getting his manhood tested constantly because people are like, what man would allow a woman, his wife, to go up on stage, talk about an affair and call it an entanglement? And he's sitting there looking like a puffed up face fool. So then, when you have this with tears in his eyes, that's not manly. It's not to allow some, and the fact that you had people, women saying that, oh, Jada's a good woman, and, those entanglements again, that's another example of people, in my opinion, you should run away from because they're all about themselves. Just take a look at the Instagram post from last night between Will and Jada. Will has a post with him and Jada in it. If you look at Jada's, there's no Will. It's just about her rubbing on her legs, and it's all about her. If you have a woman who's all about her, thinking all about her, defend me, defend me, defend me, no matter what the circumstances, even if she causes the situation or she doesn't, I want you to go out there and fight whoever that makes me unhappy. You're going to end up dead. This has happened over and over and over again. And given how nowadays people are so sensitive and so delicate and in their feelings so much, it's highly likely that someone, if you went up and you start telling someone like what Will was doing, that yeah, it's a high possibility people end up getting shot. It happens all the time. People are saying, well, he defended his wife. A real man would have, and given how big Will is, given the fact that his wife does have alopecia, this doesn't help it. Does this do anything for alopecia? No. All it teaches someone is if someone says something you don't like to someone that you care about, it's okay to go and punch them. That's what it says. Will could have easily went up there, got up like he did, walked up there, stood in front of the mic, actually patted Chris on the shoulder, said, hold on, move over a second. In his comedic way, because also Will Smith is a comedian, could have said, just let me have this for a second. Right? And he could have said that, what, my wife recently came out saying that she has alopecia. Alopecia is a autoimmune condition. She is losing parts of her hair. Recently, she decided to go bald, and let me tell you, she's still just as sexy as ever. And I love my wife. After this, we're gonna have a number on our website or on our social media for you to donate to alopecia, and so that we can help spread awareness. And then say, I love you, babe. Thank you so much for being by my side through all of this. He could have did that and say, okay, now you can go back doing your thing. And he could have went and walked and set himself down. Then when he got his award, could have came up and said, I thank you. It gave a great speech and saying, thank you also so much for this. And I'm very humbled by the experience. I appreciate this. Again, to my wife, thank you. I appreciate you. All of that. That's what a real man does. A real man lives to basically fight another day, not fight today and die today. You see what I'm saying? It's like it doesn't make any sense over a joke, over a couple of words. And this is why I tell young black men there will always be people who will tempt you, whether it just be jokingly or on purpose, and the way you react is very important. I've seen a lot of women of all races from all different countries saluting Will and saying he's a great guy. But I equally see women of all races from various different countries saying that they have a greater respect for Chris and that the fact that Will acted like a child. To me, defending your wife is not going up and punching and slugging everybody because someone said something. It doesn't make you a tough guy. It makes you look weak, in my opinion. And in the real world, unlike Will, you're not going to get an award for it and a standing ovation. You're basically going to get some bracelets from the police. They'll give them to you for free, by the way. They'll lend them to you for a second. They're going to give you a free ride in a taxpayer vehicle down to a taxpayer hotel called the jail. And that's what's going to happen to you. You have women saying, yeah, he should defend his wife so that you can go to jail, so that you can miss your days of work. This happened on a Sunday. Today's Monday. It happened at night. If this was me and I did that, I'd be in jail until today, probably. Right? So you're missing work and everything else, having something on your record just because of a joke, a possibility to lose your livelihood. You know, Will Smith is a multi millionaire. He has no worries. He could stop today and they would be set for the rest of their lives, their children's lives, their grandchildren's lives, and their great grandchildren's lives. They're set. But most people who are sitting on social media saying, yeah, I want my husband to do that, or I want my boyfriend to do that. And, you know, I see you, Will. That to me is alarming. And there's a lot of dudes saying, yeah, don't talk about a man's wife, instead of handling it the correct way. It doesn't make you a simp if you're up there defending your wife the proper way. It makes you an idiot whenever you go up there and you do violence on national TV. There's already this perception of black men that's not good on any account. And you're also up there showing black on black violence. It's been normalized so much that it's acceptable. It's been normalized. And you hear people, one of the big words, and someone was saying that basically Chris Rock was misogynistic and blah, 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 blah. You have some people who never even went to a school, to a college at all, talking about something they know very little about. This is misogynistic. Everything that is said about a woman, even if it's true, false, or a joke or whatever, is misogynistic. Everything. That's the big buzzword of the 20s, is misogynistic. But no one talks about the misandry that happens all the time, where you have women who have ill contempt of men, who will sit here, degrade them, talk about them every chance that they get, demean them, and demoralize them, which is kind of what Jada has done. No one talks about the other side of the coin. If again you come across, and there are some women who are perfect. There was a woman that's on Facebook who's somewhat popular, and she's a blonde lady. She's got blonde hair. She's a really cool person. She does little funny, quirky videos, and so she's fairly popular, right? And she was saying she didn't understand how this type of thing was just accepted, that Will was wrong. And there are people saying that, yeah, they agree with it. Other people saying, no, I think that you're wrong. I think that you're wrong. I think that what he did was completely okay. And this woman was like, I would never want to be with someone that's like that. And I told her, you are the perfect example of a good, well-rounded person. A woman like you has a lot of class, because it's not classy for your husband to be out there slugging and fighting just because someone said something that he didn't like or that his wife didn't like. In fact, Will laughed at the joke, and she was smiling and laughing until she didn't like it. And then they didn't show what went on behind, because they panned over to Chris, and more than likely she gave him that look. And because he is such, I'm going to say it, Will is a cuck. Because he is such a weak man, he feels like I gotta man up. Because again, he's no August Alsina. He's no Tupac. It's like all these years of people saying, you're weak. Your wife saying that, yeah, that's really who I really wanted. In so many words. Now he's like, dang, on national TV, people are saying that Chris Rock has went after them before, blah, 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 blah. Maybe. But a comedian is a comedian. It is what it is. And to me, if there is a guy who says that they think what Will has did is right, those are people who I'd stay away from too, to be honest with you, because it brings nothing but trouble. I don't want to be in a situation where I'm at, just hanging out with a group of friends with my wife, and somebody makes a comment about some dude's wife that's, with us, and dude starts fighting and shooting. Why would I want to be involved in a situation like that? Why would I want to be associated with someone who thinks violence is the answer to every single situation? Because obviously, just a comment's enough for you to get up and want to fight or slap someone. It makes no sense to me. Makes no sense to me. Then, on top of that, you sit there and cuss and everything else, and the man gets a standing ovation because he won an award, which should be taken away from him, in my opinion. This is not something that you should condone. And yet we have so many people, a lot of women who are saying that this is great behavior. And you have an equal amount of men saying this is wonderful. I would have did the exact same thing too. Men of all colors are saying that this is okay. But you also have the equal amounts of people saying this is wrong. So to me, it just shows how backwards. I've talked about how society has went backwards. We have went backwards. Someone made a comment that I think it was President Andrew Jackson. Someone made a comment about Andrew Jackson's wife, and Andrew Jackson, they said, shot him. I said, but Andrew Jackson was born in the late 1700s. I mean, really? Back before there were really cowboys. I mean, we're talking about that when lawlessness was kind of a thing. Like, I mean, what? Like, I don't get it. Like, okay, yeah, let's say that I think he did. I think he did shoot someone. Andrew Jackson did. I think he did. But we're talking a man who was born in the late 1700s. Today is 2022, and we have a grown man who's by far bigger than Chris Rock go up there, smack the sin out of him, and we're having people saying, like, that's completely okay. Don't get me wrong. Again, I am not at all a Chris Rock fan. He's one of the people who are really and truly in Hollywood I just don't like. It's not that he's done anything. It's just something about Chris Rock I don't like. So if anything, I'd be advocating for Will, but I can't. Because on this, it's like it's completely, to me, just out of bounds. People are saying you shouldn't joke about a condition or a health condition or whatever the case may be. You know what? You don't even know he didn't even get to finish everything. Chris Rock could have said also at the end of this, all jokes aside, I understand that Jada is suffering through alopecia. It's a health condition. There's going to be something at the end of this that talks more about it, blah, 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 to bring awareness. This is a big forum to bring awareness to things like this. But we never will know because Will jumped up and did his thing. I think it was an opportunity for both of them. Now, you have some people sitting here saying, poor Jada, poor Jada, poor Jada. You have people, especially in other countries, talking about, well, the real victim is Jada. They don't understand the whole details behind the relationship between Will and Jada, which is toxic. Now, some people are saying that's their relationship and that's their marriage, and they should be able to, if that's what they want to deal with, then so be it. And if he's okay with it, then fine. Okay, cool. I mean, fine. Nobody cares. But in terms of young black men, have some sort of self respect and decency for yourself. And if someone doesn't value you, and same thing for young women, young black women, if a man can't value you enough to where you and you alone are enough, and he has to go for someone else, you need to basically have enough self-respect for yourself and say goodbye. You see what I'm saying? Unless that's something, again, you signed up for, and most people don't. Unless you said, you know what, hey, I don't mind to have an open relationship relationship. Even though we're married, that's okay. Or we're dating, that's okay. Unless that's what you've said, if any man steps out and does something, it's time to go. Period. And I say the same thing to men. If a woman cheats on you like that, it's a matter of total disrespect. Especially when you have seen how much it has been with Will. It's been like basically her saying, like, this is not a man to me. You see what I'm saying? Like, this is not a man to me, because she finds it in other dudes that she pretty much sees as her typical guy. So, yeah, I think that people should definitely have their opinions. I think that's completely healthy and completely okay. Some people think that what Will did was what a saint would do, and that's okay. However, I want young black men to understand that in the real world, if you did what Will did, there's going to be heavy, heavy consequences to you. And even with Will, there could still be some consequences. Now, Chris Rock's not going to file charges, but he should definitely file a lawsuit, in my opinion. And I think the Oscars should take that award back. Actions have consequences. If you are on a date and a chick says, yeah, I think what he did was right, I would never go on a date with a chick again like that. If you have a friend, a guy friend, who's like, yeah, I don't blame Will, I would have did the same thing, cuz, then that's probably someone I would probably limit the amount of times we hang out. I don't care how deep in the paint you are with a person, how many years you know them. I'd be like, yeah, I don't know, man. Especially given today, this day and age, the climate that we're in, and the amount of violence going on, and the amount of craziness going on. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Someone would say, well, how come Will's not arrested? Because the police can't do anything, even though there's video evidence, unless Chris Rock says, hey, I want to do something about it. And Chris is not. Chris kept it professional. You can see where he balled up his fist and he was ready, which is in the thumbnail. You can see where he balled up his fist and he was ready to launch back, but he didn't. So to me, this is one of those things where a lot of elegant women that I've seen were like, yeah, this is not my thing. I even my sister-in-law, she's like, yeah, that's ugh. You see what I'm saying? There's a big difference. Big difference. And those are the type of women that you want to be around, or the ones that are saying this is just atrocious. It's just nasty. It's not something that's not the way you handle the situation. No one's saying like, oh, you too scared to go up there and do anything. You ain't got the stones to go up there. It's not about that. Anybody can go up there and smack someone. That's what a child does. Just throw a temper tantrum whenever you don't get your way, or when someone says something you don't like, is to fall down on the floor or to hit somebody. You see a child will hit. They'll either cry or hit. You'll see that. That's what a child does. A man does not go and use violence against anyone, whether it be another man or a woman. Just because you can doesn't mean that you should. I mean, it's as simple as that. Just because you can, it doesn't mean that you should. And in this circumstance, Will could have handled that completely different and could have actually done it in a way that it made Chris Rock look like an idiot. But instead, it's really making people that have the power. It's not about public opinion as much. The people that have the power could basically say, you know what, we don't want Will on our set no more. Or, you know what, in terms of anything else, we're not really messing with Will that way. Tell me what you guys think. Be sure to join the Discord down in the description box below. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and comment. And until next time, I will see you. Take care.